Well, 6 o'clock here. Just about to hit the road. Gonna meet up with my good buddy Steve Dellier, one of the best bass anglers and multi-species guys in the area. Lives in the Scugog, Port Perry area. Grew up here and knows it well, so it's gonna be fun going after some big bass with him out of Beaverton on Lake Simcoe. So gonna gas up, meet him there. He's on his way as well, and we're gonna go catch some bass mid-September here. They should be getting fat, so let's get after it. I just got here, beautiful morning, got a little bit of fog on the water, so that's going to be interesting. We're just waiting on Steve. He's just grabbing some Timmies here. I think he was fueling up here in town. But man, we're here. We're in Beaverton. We're in Brock County. It's good to be here. We're excited. We're going to go get some big smallmouth, hopefully. So let's load this baby in. You excited?
Always excited.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna do a bit of a fun tournament here. And
I brought my secret weapon today.
oh, he's got the secret weapon. Hey, Cindy.
It's not my talent, it's my wife.
Perfect. I didn't know you were bringing your
My secret weapon.
your secret weapon. Better than any secret bait you could have brought.
That's right.
All right, we'll help you get in and
Good answer.
we'll get after it. Secret weapon? Oh, look at that.
Secret Great Lakes finesse.
Alright, just got here to the first spot. Try to locate some fish, so I'm gonna take a jerk bait and see if we can find anything that gives us any indication that the fish are in the area, and we'll just keep doing that until we find some fish.
What are you tying up, hon?
I am tying up a new prototype bait, Great Lakes finesse drop shot worm. I'm out here today with Dan McGill, Braden Kemp, and we're gonna go try and see if we can pin some big smallmouth.
What's that look like? Oh, look at that.
All right, first fish of the day. He's not a monster, but that's on the Great Lakes craw, finesse craw. Green pumpkin, loved it.
Well, we're about an hour and a half into the day, and Steve's on the board. He just caught a really small one. He said it's got to be the smallest one that he's ever caught out here, which is pretty funny because we're on like a lake that has some of the biggest ones. Anyway, we're gonna keep going after it. He got it on the bottom. We're just dragging a small finesse craw on the bottom, something that's about 2 inches. So he just got on that. That's a good sign to start. Usually takes a little while maybe to locate them. Sometimes you get lucky and find right away, but Braden and I are we're gonna keep at it here. We're in 17 feet of water. Steve's on the board. He's beating us. So right now we're in about 15 feet of water. We're just using a small finesse craw. This one in particular is made by a company called Great Lakes Finesse, and it floats. So what's cool about it is you can kind of drag it on the bottom, and the claws will stand up. The body will actually stand a little bit in a pretty cool position. Anyways, we're gonna give this a go. Steve just caught one on it, and see what we can do.
So we're trying a couple different techniques at once out here, trying to figure out how to get some bites. This is a drop shot rig. It's a small hook with a 4-inch worm. This is a Great Lakes Finesse worm. And then a length of line tied to a lead or tungsten sinker. The idea is that this weight sits on the bottom, and this bait is just going to sit right like that in front of the fish, perfectly out sideways. It looks like a little minnow. You can throw any variety of different type of bait on there. This is a drop shot rig. We'll show you how to tie one a little later, and we're going to see if we can catch some bass on it.
Well, we're gonna make a move here. It's not really happening. Braden had lost a good one, but gonna make a move, see if we can go hit up a shoal, find some more weed and maybe some more fish.
Oh. We're getting close to halfway through the day. It's been challenging, which can happen this time of year. I think Dan mentioned it earlier, the smallmouth get on this transition where they're changing the food source. They go from food source that lives on the bottom to more minnows and other fish that they're chasing around. So what we're doing now is driving around trying to find a place where that fall food source is, and hopefully we'll find a school of them.
I just realized. Finally hooked up. It's been a while to locate them, but got one here. Got on a finesse cross. So we just left in another area. We saw a couple fish there. He was working those, and so we just made a slight move. We were using a jerk bait, and we actually right away first cast we saw some fish. So anyway, we threw the finesse craw at him, and it seemed like right away the fish bit. So I get in here. He's not quite you know, the giants that Simcoe is known for, but you know what? Today it's been a little tough. We're still trying to locate some of the bigger ones, but I think we're on the board here. We get a weight on him. He's probably like 2 pounds or whatever, but just first cast with the finesse craw. If you're looking for one of these, Great Lakes Finesse makes these. It's just a small little craw that they can't really resist if the fishing's tough. So anyway, not a bad one. So we'll put him in the box for a second, and then we'll get a weight. Hooked up on our second fish. So we put the first fish in the live well, and here's a little tip for you. If you get around fish in your shallow water, it's good to put your fish in the live well, because for some reason if you put a fish back, sometimes you can turn the school off. So anyways, we're onto a little bit of a school here. Again, it's not your typical Simcoe giant. We're still looking for that one, but you know what, it's always a lot of fun. You're catching quality fish. The craw seems to be doing it pretty good. So here, we'll see if we can get this one up. It might be a little bit bigger than the last one, and then we'll weigh them up. Yeah, it's not a bad one. It's not huge, but still a lot of fun. So again, you come out of Beaverton, you can catch fish like this. I mean, these fish are pretty plentiful, especially summertime. I mean, that's a pretty solid fish any day of the week. Oh, giving me a bit of a hard time, but that's all right. Normally I'm a little slicker than that. But you can see, you know, if you look down, you can see you know, these little craws just seem to get them pretty good. So, I mean, that's all it is, just a little craw on a small 3/16 ounce head. Get some decent bass like this. So come out on Simcoe. We're gonna keep after it. We're about, I don't know, it's probably about 1 o'clock right now, and we got a bit more time. So this is our second fish. I think we're leading this thing. Steve will probably pull out a giant, but in the meantime, we'll put this one in the box. Well, it's been a tough day. We do have a couple fish in the live well, so let me just quickly show you what we got so far. Flip this around. Check those two guys out. Steve, I really hope you're on them. Wouldn't take much today for Simcoe, but a couple nice fish in there. Anyway, we're gonna keep at it here and see if we can't get one more. We caught a couple of shallow. They weren't too big. There are a lot of fish shallow, but they seem pretty finicky. We probably saw a bunch. Braden lost a big one. We got a nice perch today. So right now what we're doing is we're just looking for some deeper fish. Basically cruising around the shoals, the deeper water. If we see some, we might drop down on them. So we're gonna give this a shot. I mean, it's not been the craziest day for Simcoe. We kind of knew that it might be tough. It's this time of the year, but at the same time, it'd be cool. It was cool to be able to show you guys some of the things that we do and what we look for. So we're gonna cruise around a little bit. Hopefully, find some. We're getting near the end of the day. So far, we're leading. I can't believe it. But, Steve hasn't really had the day that he's normally accustomed to. That doesn't mean Simcoe doesn't have giants. If you go to the Durham Region website and you go to their fishing page, you'll see all of the giant smallmouth that you can catch out here, and it's pretty common to get them, especially July and August. September can be tough. There's no doubt about it. You got to cover a lot of water today. Wasn't quite our day yet. That could change at any time, but we're going to keep trying. And but we are getting close to the end of the day. So we were looking for deep fish around the shoals. We're gonna drop down to them. If we catch them, awesome. If not, well, we're gonna put it on the trailer and head home this week. All right, well, this is what we ended up with today. I mean, they're not giants, certainly not Simcoe standard, but Steve, it's crazy that this is what took to win today.
It's nice to see that, though. It tells you how healthy the fishery is.
Absolutely.
That's a good year class.
Yeah, but I want to thank you guys for coming out and having a little fun fish against each other. It wasn't too competitive and it was a lot of fun. But anyways, we'll stick those in there and get a couple pictures. And anyway, thanks again, Steve and Cindy.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Hey guys, we had an awesome day today. We didn't quite get into the giants, but that's okay. You're not always gonna catch giants, but the nice thing about coming to Lake Simcoe is you always have a shot at a true giant. I will say though, we did have one on. Unfortunately, we didn't get it on camera. It was a big one. It was actually on this bait in particular. And this is just a standard white jerk bait. So the nice thing about coming out here with a jerk bait is you might not always get bit, but you will locate the fish, and we were able to do that today. And the fish in the live well right now are actually fish that we located first with the jerk bait. So we use the jerk bait to locate the fish. This is a standard jerk bait. You can really use any jerk bait out here. White seems to be good. You can get into some clear patterns, but this is a good one. So I definitely recommend fishing a jerk bait. Even if you're not getting bit, you will find the fish. So the second thing that we used and has become quite popular out here is a spy bait. So this bait in particular excels more when it's not too windy. So I did throw this a little bit today. Again, they weren't quite biting it. They just seem off today, but we were able to find them. In fact, on a couple occasions, we saw packs of 4 or 5 chase the bait in. So then what we did and how we caught all of our fish, and that includes Steve, is we actually use this bait here. And this is just a really small craw. And what we find is that when the fish get really finicky, sometimes you got to go down and into a micro-sized bait. You can get them on tubes and all sorts of different plastics, but today this happened to be the one that we were using. It's just a craw from a company called Great Lakes Finesse, and essentially we just put it on a small ball head, and we're using 4-pound test line, and we're using light line to be able to cast really far. And what we did was, in every case, we would locate the fish with the jerk bait or the spy bait. And then what I was doing and what Braden was doing is we were casting as far away as we could from the boat, and then slowly dragging this bait on the water. And this bait in particular, again, this Great Lakes one, the reason why we like it is it actually floats. So the claws stick up in the air, and we're able to move it really slowly. And we caught our fish today using it, and thankfully they were biting that. So anyway, this place, the nice thing about Lake Simcoe is you always have a shot at a true giant. This place spits out 5-pounders on the regular, and fish up to like 9 pounds. And so I definitely recommend you come out here. Again, sometimes, especially when it's windy, the jerkbait does really well. But if it's calm like this, we're into the tougher part of the season, the smaller baits dragged on the bottom. You can also use a drop shot. Here, I'll show you a drop shot real quick. So we also use these drop shots out here, and if you get into the deeper water, basically you're just using a weight on the bottom, and then you're using a drop shot bait. In this case, we're just using a 4-inch worm. This one, again, happens to be by Great Lakes Finesse. So what's nice and why we like this one is it just seems to float perfectly horizontal in the water, and you can dead stick it. So anyway, we didn't get any on this bait today, but it has caught a lot of fish for us. And so those are your main techniques: your drop shot, spy bait for like casting baits. You can use spinner baits too, you know, especially if it's windy. But when you want to finesse them, dragging like a small tube, the crawl like I showed you, and a drop shot can be really deadly. So anyways, I encourage you to check it out. It's accessible through Beaverton. It's an amazing place to launch. It's a great place to come fishing and get a giant. You might not have success right away, but what I will say is if you're fishing out here, you have a chance at a fish of a lifetime, and people come from all over the world to come to Lake Simcoe for a true giant. Day's over. Got to fish it with my buddy Steve there, awesome fisherman. Anyways, gonna let these guys go. It's important to practice catch and release, but nothing wrong with a fish like that. They do get a lot bigger here. That's one. Might take me a second to get the second one. They get pretty feisty. We keep them in a live well, keep them nice and fresh, but that's the other one, and that's what it took to win today. So anyway, come to Lake Simcoe. It's a place to get giant fish. At the end of the day, there's always fish to be caught. It's very rare that you don't come out here and catch something. We got perch today. We caught 3 bass. We had a giant hooked up. It's too bad we didn't get that one. It was really big. Braden had it. And anyways, thanks for watching the video. Come to Durham region. It's home of the giants, and Beaverton's a great place to come and launch your boat and get into some